Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk on this. It's a new thing. I'm like, it's been going on for some time. And it really trips me out because last I checked, I am entitled to have an opinion about a video game. If somebody asks me about a video game, I'm going to be honest with them. I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm not going to lie to them or try to make it seem like that, oh, this game is... The thing is this. Video games need to be meant for everybody. I remember back in the day, you played a video game, it was like, fam, that video game was meant for everybody. It wasn't like, oh, video games is locked into groups like, oh, you got the sim racers where it's like they only play sim racing games. You got the first person shooters, they only play the first person shooter games. The third person shooters, they only play that. League of Legends players, Fortnite players. You know, it's just all these different games where it's like, it's only meant for a group of people. Back then, it was like, fam, you had 100 video games, and I guarantee and I promise you, every game was different. Every game was different. Like, if I could sit down and talk about the games I had back when I originally had a PlayStation 2, I had it was like the Finding Nemo game. That game was different than the Grand Theft Auto game. Then Grand Theft Auto was different than this Ford racing game, and that Ford racing game was different than this Terminator game. Do you see the point that I'm trying to make? Is that games were so different and unique, but you knew how to play them. That was the one key thing that all video games had back in the day. Like back then, what they had in common was that all of them were playable. It wasn't like the game was meant for that. No, if you my thing, well, more so if your parents had the money to go out and buy that game, if that game looked fun, it was because it was. And that's the thing, whatever you had seen in the trailer, whatever you seen being promoted about that game, that's what you was going to get in return. Nowadays it seems like that developers, they want to come out with like cinematic trailers and then not really show like no gameplay stuff. They'll show like maybe a little bit of the gameplay stuff, but is that like, all right, so like let's say they do a video where they're like, it's a 15-minute like playthrough of whatever mission. Is that explaining the whole game? Is that explaining the bugs? Obviously the developers, they gonna make it to where the game looks as beautiful as it can be, but is that the truth that we're getting with that game? You look at any video game today, the one game the latest where the fans have been getting on me because I criticized the game was EVE Online. When they do an EVE Online trailer, do they show some cinematic? Let's just hold on for a second. Let's just see when the last time like EVE Online trailer. Maybe they do show some gameplay. I just don't be really watching it like that. But anyways, hold on for a second. EVE Online trailer. Let's just see what it's the last time, or I guess when they did some trailer, it's the cinematic trailers, and they posted that 9 years ago. Let's see what they, Legion, no, they don't play out loud on the podcast that like the platform that I do. But anyways, let's just see. Yeah, they're showing like cinematic trailers, but they're not showing you the gameplay. They're not trying to explain that stuff. Why? Because they know that it is a complex game, and they know it's going to take forever trying to explain it. And I'm like, see, that's where you guys failed. It shouldn't be a video game where it's this over-the-top, challenging, can't figure out nothing video game. And that was the last time when I had played EVE Online. They had me doing this mission, and it didn't explain nothing about doing that mission. Yeah, they have like this tutorial that you go through when you very first play the game, but that doesn't explain the whole game. That only explains a portion of the game. That explains the basics, but that EVE Online is one of those, it's pretty much, well, I wouldn't say it's on that same scale as X4 Foundations. X4 Foundations is in a league of its own, but it's in that same conversation though with them like Space Sims and all that. But I'm like, fam, you cannot come out, if that's what they're calling EVE Online, that's not a true legitimate space simulator. And my thing is this, if there is ever a time where I am going to space, fam, they're not going to have it where it's like, okay, when you go into space, we're just going to put you in the spaceship and then we're just going to be explaining things as you... No, they're going to have you on the ground. You're going to have to probably go through months, if not years, of space training to figure out, like, okay, how can I navigate throughout space? But that's one thing about it, is that if there is any space sim games that exist, it's not a true legitimate space sim game, because the same developers, they're calling it a space sim, most likely 99.9% chance they have never been to space. They watch some space movies, they got an idea, and they're like, hey, I'm a video game developer, let me make a quote unquote space sim. It's not a space sim. Like, my thing is, that's like if and I know people are gonna probably be all like, oh well, the people behind Forza, they're not professional racers yet. They make a racing game, but that's the thing though about that game. They're not making it this over the top challenging. They're not like, oh, you gotta you when you're racing in that game, you gotta constantly be changing the oil. You gotta constantly be, you know, or having it where it's like, we're not gonna guide you nowhere. Like, if we want you to do it, like, the thing is this: if they want you to do a race in that game, let me explain to you guys like the 5 minutes of playing Forza and 5 minutes of playing games like EVE Online or X4 Foundations. I'm gonna get into the criticism stuff in a moment, and how fans be getting upset with that. And I'm pretty sure there's probably even people out there that get upset if you don't like Forza. But anyways, let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about 5 minutes playing Forza and 5 minutes playing EVE Online. 5 minutes of playing Forza, they might have you go through like some like cinematic stuff where it's kind of explaining what the game is about, but they put you in a car and you're racing to, like, let's say if it's like Forza Horizon, so they got you racing, or not even racing, you're pretty much just driving to this Horizon place, or it's not, or a festival, that's where they call it. They have it where you're driving to a festival. So you drive to a festival, get yourself all signed in, select a car, now you're ready to get into the racing. The thing is this though, there's a racing game. If we're comparing both, I would have to say developing a racing game will probably be a lot easier. I'm not saying that you have to, but my thing is this: if you're gonna be developing a space sim, you got to make it into an easygoing game. It can't be no game where it's like, you know, it's more so. And that's the thing where I, you know, just to even kind of talk on it briefly, like when I'm criticizing games like EVE Online and stuff like that, people always want to say things like this game isn't meant for people that are new. It's not good to new players. Then how did everybody get into the game then? The thing is this. No, what they're doing, I'm pretty sure EVE Online, it wasn't this, because I think they said that game came out in 2003. I'm pretty sure that game wasn't as challenging as it is today with figuring out stuff. They probably had it set up where it's like, okay, select a spaceship, go do this mission, you're good. The developers, for some reason, they want to add all this like difficult stuff, and it's like, who asked for that? That's what I would like to know. Who asked for the game to be more difficult? See, you're trying to make something out of this game and it's not even that. It's a video game at the end of the day, bro. Like, and people be forgetting that. They want to be making these like over-the-top games, and it's like the developers be forgetting stuff like that. And I'm like, fam, you don't need to do that. Nobody asked for it. Not one single person. But anyways, 5 minutes of playing Forza, you already know how to play that game. And you know, at the end of the day, like when you're doing the your first race, your second race, third race, 10th race, 100th race, whatever, the thing is this: gameplay don't change. They don't have it where it's like each race is gonna be different, or it's like this race is gonna be more difficult than that race. If the thing is this, if they are changing anything, it's gonna be fun. Like, they got you racing planes. They got you racing trains in there. What else do they have you racing? Racing cars that's doing 300 miles per hour. But the thing is this, though, about Forza, you're going to be having fun with that game. They know at the end of the day, people want to have fun, so they're like, hey, look, we gonna make it where this game got a difficulty settings to where, and then on top of that, you get to play the game entirely by yourself. EVE Online, it's not like that. Of course, it's in the title, it's an online game, but you got people out there that want to be toxic. You got people out there that want to be annoying. Forza don't do no stuff like that. If we're even thinking of some other space games out there, Elite Dangerous, I would say that that's in that same category as no, it is a space simulator. Elite Dangerous, it could be difficult at times, but the thing is this though, I've made it further in that game than I did EVE Online. At least with Elite Dangerous, they do have like a tutorial settings to kind of explain stuff, combat, all that stuff. It's just more so with the difficulty of that game where I was struggling with it. But other than that, I was like, but as far as like the easygoing stuff, oh yeah, they have that set up. And that's the thing though, they don't have it set up where it's like you only have to play, because it's like, I feel like a lot of developers, if they don't, I'm like, then that just tells me they're not playing their game. But anyways, they know at the end of the day, if they are playing their game, they know at the end of the day they're gonna have toxic players. That's one thing that I remember hearing about EVE Online, is that you will have players purposely camping out, wanting to kill you either for the fun of it or to loot you. Fam, I'm not trying to deal with that when I'm playing a game. I'm not trying to have it where I'm dealing with campers if I'm playing the game and I'm just trying to play it and have fun, whatever the case may be. There ain't nothing fun about that. That's like every time, like, so let's say using Forza as an example, that's like having it where as soon as you start up the game, you just got random cars hitting you. At least I think they do have that set up in Forza where it's like a car, it's they'll go through you or something like that. If it's like if you're in the like offline, well not offline, but it's like if you are in a lobby and you're just kind of just casually driving around and stuff. I think they do have it where cars drive through you. Cause I don't ever remember getting hit by a car. I know the Crew Motherfest, they have it set up that way where if a car is come flying down the road and they just like they can't hit you and stuff. But that's the thing though, it's not like you're losing out on anything. Like that's like if your car gets damaged and you're having to keep constantly buying that car because people are just ruining the game for you. See, and it's like, and that's the thing where it's like, I'm pretty sure the developers behind Forza knew that people would do stuff like that. So they're like, okay, let's not add that in the game. Because for one, nobody's not asking for it. And two, we know that we will have to change it if we did add something like that into the game. To where it's like you would have to add kind of like what Grand Theft Auto has on their online thing, that passive mode where people can't attack or do anything to you. And it's like, you know, you would think that, okay, Grand Theft Auto, that did come out after, I'm pretty sure. But it's like the game's been out for over 10 years. And I'm pretty sure that passive mode was like one of the most talked about things with games like that, where it's like, okay, you are going to be playing it with people. They're just going to be, because Grand Theft Auto, I had to say, that's the number one reason on why I don't like playing online games. Especially games where it's like this like open world lobby where you could come across anybody. Because yeah, you are going to have it where there's people out there that's just going to be killing you for the fun of it. I'm not trying to deal with that. My thing is this. If I'm playing the game, I'm just trying to get through the missions and go on about my business. That's it. That's all that I'm trying to do. But it's, and you know, and then just to get into the criticism, you know, when I criticize a video game, what I'm trying to figure out is why is it that people get so upset when I do criticize a video game? I'm saying like the video games like X4 Foundations, recently being EVE Online. I'm trying to think of some other games I've criticized and people have gotten upset with it. But it'll probably come to me as I'm doing this episode. But anyways, it's like those are the two games where people have like gotten on me about how I criticize the game. And I'm like, why? How does my experience with the game affect you at the end of the day? And I feel like that it's people, maybe it's the developers, maybe it's like strong fans, but that's the thing though. I don't believe it's just random people coming across the video and being like, oh, well, it's not. No. What I personally feel is that it's people that play this game on a regular. They purposely go out and they see, or maybe, I don't know, they're just like sitting around just watching EVE Online videos all day, but then they see my video and they see that I'm putting a bad word out on EVE Online. Then they're like, oh, well, I don't want this to stop people from joining in on the game and stuff and the quote unquote fun. So I'm going to comment underneath this guy's video, possibly dislike it or try to argue with him and debate with him and stuff. That's the thing though. With people, and I just remember that with the X4 Foundation fanboy, where he tried coming into my stream debating with me about a game that I'm like, fam, most likely the same amount of hours you done put in EVE, or not EVE, but X4 Foundation, that's how I done probably put 100 times more of that into racing games, and just into even studying cars. You're not going to explain to me how cars operate, which car is faster than the other, and you most likely don't know nothing about cars. And I'm like, my thing is, that's one of those things I'll never forget. But anyways, but yeah, it's like, you know, having it where it's like people that want to sit around and do stuff like that. Why? My thing is this. How does my opinion on a video game affect you? How is that going to take you? My thing is this. You're taking yourself away from whatever video game that you're a fan of, and I talk about it in a negative way. That's on you. They ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just that guy that's, if I had a bad experience with a video game, I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to go and tell people, oh, buy the game in anyways and stuff, even if I did have a bad experience. No, I'm going to tell people the honest truth about a game. If that game is not good and you're wanting to know my experience on it, I'm going to tell you my experience. I did not enjoy my experience with EVE Online. To have and just even, talk on that game, to have it where you're having to go back and forth. I don't like games like that. I don't like games where I'm having to go back and forth from YouTube, forums, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, trying to figure out how to play one level, trying to just figure out how to play one game. And I'm having to go through multiple platforms to figure out how to play one game and do one level. There's nothing fun about that. There's nothing fun where I'm spending more time watching videos on the game, and then after I done put hundreds of hours into the game, that's when I know how to play it. That no, bruh. I'm not going to support a game like that. There's nothing fun about playing a game and you're spending more time away from the game than actually playing the game. And just like how I was saying early on in this episode, back in the day, like during that PlayStation 2 era, you didn't have that. You had here's the thing with developers. They had one shot on releasing a good video game. And if they messed up, company was going to shut down. So they knew that they couldn't mess up. They knew that they couldn't add bugs into this game. They knew that they couldn't do all these different things. And I feel like developers be doing that, trying to see, oh, well, let's see if the game comes out, or if it overall gets good ratings. If we have all these bugs, we ain't gonna fix the bugs. We're gonna fix it when we feel like fixing it. And that's when it's and that's the thing. They want to see whether or what the reviews is gonna be like, and you'll see that. You'll see when a developer, they'll come out with a game be all buggy, glitchy, people don't like it. Then that's when they all quick on rush into making it better and stuff, or making it a good. Well, I wouldn't say better. I feel like no, putting it in a good state. But then if a game, like, let's say they release a game gets good ratings, but then there's that one review where it's like a person's like, no, I didn't like it. Like, there's so much missing from this game, but then it has like that strong fan base to where the developers, they're all like, okay, well, what am I overall going to listen to? Am I going to listen to this one individual, or am I going to listen to this, to the fan base? Anybody's going to listen to the fan base. Even I would listen to the fan base. But then and you know what ends up happening to games like that? Then eventually other people start seeing the game for its true colors. And then them same people within that fan base, they start seeing the game for its true colors. Then that's when the developers are like, oh, well, maybe we should do something to this video game. Now, after months of it or years of it being out, now we're going to add this stuff that people have been asking for. You should have been doing that when the game came out in the first place. Why wait all of a sudden when the game is starting to get bad ratings and people ain't playing it no more? That's when you guys want to do something to fix the game. And it's stuff like that where I'm like, games like that, it's just that long term of me not supporting it. That's how I see it. I'm like, I'm not going to, even if you guys do come out with updates fixing stuff, I'm like, I'm not going to support your guys' game. Because there's the one game I remember, it was kind of like, so if you guys follow me on Twitch, there was this one game that I played called Pools. Not Pools, there was another game like Pools where I played it, but the game, it was buggy and it didn't have no save option. So if you go and did a mission, you pretty much had to start that mission all over again if you exited out the game. And so anyways, I'm playing that game, and then I exited out. So I was like, I did give the game a bad rating. The developer, they wanted me to go out and buy the game again and see their new update. And I'm like, fam, it's still the same business. I'm not a fan of it. So I'm like, I'm not going to support your guys' game because you're like, oh, well, and it's on top of that, they ain't even like, my thing is this, that somebody done that what sense does that make where it's like a person, like if you're at a restaurant and the person is like, hey, you guys messed up on this food and I'm supposed to pay for that second dish. I'm supposed to go out and buy this game out. Yeah, I did get my money back, but I'm like, fam, I'm not going to be going back and forth, giving you guys my money, taking it back, giving you guys my money. I'm not going to be doing that. So my thing is this, if you want your game to be good, you have to come out with updates on fixing that game. You gotta listen to the audience. I guess with EVE Online, it's an exception to the rules because it is a free game. But them games that's paid for, yeah, no, I'm not trying to be out here paying for games and these games ain't good. And that's the same business with X4 Foundations. I paid money for that game just for the game to not be good because they want to make it into this over-the-top space sim, and it's like, who asked for that? The thing is this, you can have some of the most basic controls in that game, right? It's not going to change the player based on how they feel about the game. That's the stuff that I'm like, that be tripping me out. It's like you have that opportunity right then and there to make it into an easy game, and you don't. And then you wonder why the game don't get good ratings. So that's why I'm like, hey, look, if your game ain't got good ratings and you got people like me overall adding to the negative ratings, you can't be upset about it. Because I feel like it is a trend. People are coming out with games that are not good, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to wait until a bunch of people say that the game is not good, and then that's when we're going to decide to do something to it. And that's one game that I'm going to use as an example before I end off this episode. Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown tried doing that same mess. They was like, we're going to release this game and we can care less what people say. They released that game. People didn't like it. The game had bad ratings. And then they're like, oh, well, now we're going to listen to people. And people still don't play that game. I don't hear nobody saying, oh, bro, I'm about to go and get the new test drive game. Not one single person. There's one of my friends where he's probably, I wouldn't say he's more in the racing games than I am. At one point in time, I would say that he was. Like, he was playing Forza and all that stuff. But anyways, I just remember, I think did he say he was going to get test drive? I can't remember if we even talked about that game. But he be paying attention to video games. My thing is this: if he did mention test drive unlimited solar crown to me, it was very brief. But if not that, somebody that's into racing games, not even talking about your guys' game, he talked more about this one game that just came out called JDM, Japanese Drift Master. He talked more about that game. I seen where he wishlist that game to so he could get it at some point in time. I ain't seen him talk or say anything wishlist test drive unlimited solar crown. That's where your guys' game is at right now. And I'm like, my thing is this: it's gonna be like that with a lot of different video games. Let's just see what the ratings are for EVE Online. Because, it might be good. It might be people playing this game, and it's just, mostly positive. That's the same business with, X4 Foundation. And, I imagine with EVE Online, more people probably would be playing that game since it is free. But let's see what the player count is. I could see it being off in the thousands because it's a free game and stuff, so people are going to be. Only 4,000? Yeah, no, that's not a whole lot. That's not a whole lot. And for a game, there's like an all-time peak of 10,000 4.5 years ago, and that was probably when they did like some update making it seem like it was gonna be this big giant game. And it's like, no, bruh, no. I was thinking it was gonna probably be like 40,000 or something like that, not no 4,000. So yeah, that's I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things where but the thing is this. What happened to them other 6,000 players? Why are they not playing the game? What did they overall see in the game, or what did they experience in the game to where it got them to where it's just like me, where they're not playing the game no more? So that's why I'm like, people, if you see somebody criticizing a game, it doesn't require an argument. That's just their own opinion about the game. Just like how I did this episode. This is my opinion about the game. If you like that game, then play it. What are you sitting down listening to my podcast episode for? Go out and play the game. But here's the thing, though. If I criticize a game, I'm going to criticize a game. Especially if I am paid money for this game. For a free game, I'm like, yeah, it's like, I feel like that, with EVE Online, that it's good that it's free. Because if that's a game that I had to pay money for, I'd have been upset. You pay money for this game and you can't even enjoy it. So that's why I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things. I know they do plan on coming out with another EVE type game. And I'm like, that game needs to be free too. Because you guys are not in no position to be asking people for money if that's the type of games that you guys are going to be putting out. Where it's going to be this over-the-top challenge and nobody can enjoy it because you got to watch 100 million YouTube tutorials just to figure out how to do the first mission of the game. Yeah, I'm not feeling that. So anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.